Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Today, I am not going to make any bones about it. I'm going to let you listen to this because this is very important. A warning ignored. The shocking confession from the American National Standards Institute and the American National Crediting Board's Vice President of Laboratory Accreditation, Ms. Pamela Sale. I speak not just as a citizen, ladies and gentlemen, but as someone who has spent years, even decades, investigating and exposing dangerous weaknesses in our national and global quality and safety systems. From 2015 to 21, the China National Accreditation Services, incorporated in Beijing, operated under the leadership of Zhao Jinwu, a chief executive, a Chinese national who has been involved with our quality since 1994. Zhao Jinwu was also promoted to chairman during these years of the International Accreditation Forum. During this time, a group founded and funded by ANSI and ANAB. As such, ANSI and ANAB are not just policy architects for the IAF and their sister organization, ILAC, the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation in Australia, but these organizations have both national and international accreditation bodies, equivalent to ANSI ANAB. ANSI ANAB are underwriters, meaning they carry legal responsibility for certification failures within the global accreditation framework. Of special note is Zhao Jinwu is mandated to engage in cybersecurity/hacking via the China National Intelligence Law Article Number 7. In 2017, a picture surfaced showing Zhao Jinwu in the Wuhan laboratory handing out a certificate of accreditation despite the lab's known lack of highly trained biosafety technicians, noted 6 months prior to the certification being issued and 6 months after it was issued. And that was discovered by American specialists who went over to the lab in Wuhan, where the scientists were saying, we do not have enough trained technicians. This was the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the now infamous origin of the global pandemic. In 2018, ANSI and ANAB formally merged into one body with two names, giving ANSI complete legal and operational control over ANAB. Together, these entities designed and underwrote a global network of accreditation bodies, including the China National Accreditation Services, which is equivalent, again, to ANSI ANAB accreditation, which was responsible for certifying the lab. ANSI and ANAB may not have stamped the lab directly, but they built the entire structure to allow it to happen. That means they own the liability, both for broken systems and for the dangerous outcomes, said the source behind ongoing investigation. Let me tell you about Ms. Pamela Sale, Vice President of Laboratory Accreditation for ANSI ANAB, the so-called authority that oversees laboratory quality across America, including those handling deadly viruses, forensics, food safety, and national defense. Pamela Sale's damning admission came in a sworn statement in 2017 deposition. Pamela Sale, Vice President of Laboratory Accreditation for ANSI ANAB, confirmed that the lab certification was fundamentally broken. Listen to what she says. One of the issues is that there is no commonly agreed upon set of standards that forensic labs around the country have to follow. Instead, there are informal guidelines that labs can choose to follow or not. Back in September of 2017, Pamela Sale gave that sworn statement, and what she admitted to was shocking. She basically confessed that the COVID virus was released from the laboratory in Wuhan, China. Yes, you heard that correctly. In 2017, 3 years before the pandemic, a top official connected to U.S. lab oversight, the same oversight body trusted by the Department of Defense and FBI, acknowledged a biosecurity breach in China. If there were no enforced standards in U.S. labs, why would we expect rigorous oversight at foreign labs like Wuhan? Now I ask you, why wasn't the public warned? Why did our leaders do nothing? But the failures didn't stop there. Pamela Sale also admitted something. There is no agreed upon set of national standards for forensic and testing labs in the United States. None. Instead, labs can choose to follow informal guidelines or ignore them completely. Imagine that crime labs, medical testing labs, even labs handling infectious diseases with no enforceable national standard. Yes, ANSI ANAB keeps selling accreditation and calling it oversight. Our Department of Defense, FBI, and even the FAA rely on this system, but who are they really relying on? Let me remind you, ANSI and ANAB are not government agencies. They're private, not-for-profit corporations with deep international ties, including with China, Iran, Pakistan, etc., who are, by the way, equivalent in accreditation to ANSI ANAB. Through the International Accreditation Forum, which until 2015 and 21 was headed by that Chinese national Zhao Jinwu. Let that sink in. How can we allow Pamela sales admission in 2017? Shouldn't it have triggered alarms in every agency in Washington? But it didn't. Instead, ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018, forming a one powerful entity hidden behind technical language and trade groups, but responsible for the very system that failed to stop the pandemic. The consequences are real millions who died. The economy crashed, and the private organization that is not accountable to voters or Congress was sitting on the truth. It's time for a full investigation, full accountability, and America deserves to know, why was Pamela's sales confession buried? Why are our national labs overseen by a private company tied to foreign entities? And why does the federal government keep handing out contracts to ANSI ANAB while ignoring the damage? This is no longer about policy. This is about national security, ladies and gentlemen, public trust, and a future for the United States. I urge all lawmakers to subpoena Pamela Sale, release the full deposition, audit ANSI, ANAB, IF, and ILAC, and restore control of the U.S. laboratory oversight to the American people. And the last and final thing I'm going to say, as Dwight D. Eisenhower said, it is not the size of the dog in the fight that counts. It's the size of the fight in the dog. 203-556-1493. I thank you.